start my lecture for today. Today we have to discuss we have a lecture number 5, and we have to discuss about the web content accessibility guidelines. We have discussed about W3Cs already, and we have some other laws and regulations for the development of the website. And this is the WCAG. We have already discussed W3C. Okay, you have any question about the previous lecture?
Yes.
Okay, and okay, in the W3Cs we have discussed about the core beliefs, its long-term goals, and their business process recommendation, and all these things we have already discussed in the W3Cs. And now, before I start the WCAG, which is basically a web content accessibility guidelines. Before we have to start and understand about this, we have to discuss about web accessibility. What is a web accessibility? It is a way of making your website available as many people as you can. Or not everyone in the world is same, as you know, and will be able to use your website as you do. So it is important for everyone to keep accessibility in mind while designing your website. Developer must have an idea about these guidelines and these laws before develop a website. And basically, accessibility is the right thing to do, providing accessibility in law in some countries and the governed by the government, and there are also some guidelines. We will discuss some guidelines for this, and the guidelines issued by the organization on how to make a website accessible also judge the accessibility of the website. So the website must be accessible for the people or for those who are not perfect ones and who are not using website in that way that we are using. We should think if as a way of treating everyone same and providing them the same opportunity, not matter what their ability and situation is. Then it's just wrong that someone who is one on the wheelchair can't use a building because it does not have a lift. It is wrong to exclude someone from using a website that have some kind of disability. We are all different, as we all know, but we are all human, so therefore have a same human rights. So we have to design our website at accessibility. Accessibility is the right thing to do. So we have to do that. First thing is accessibility, and why basically we need to make our website accessible. The power of the website is in the universality. According to World Health Organization, you can see that 50% of the world population have some form of disabilities. Includes 285 million people are estimated to be visually impaired. 39 million are those are estimated to be blind, and 246 million are estimated to have low vision, and 260 million people worldwide have disabled hearing loss. So you have seen these disabilities in the world population, and that's why we need to make our website accessible for everyone. And we have to discuss about some laws and the guidelines for this accessibility. There are some laws which garner that accessibility of the website and also provide principles and guidelines to make our website accessible. The W3C has published a large and very detailed document that include very precise technology and logistic criteria for accessibility components. These are called a web content accessibility guidelines. The criteria are split up into 4 categories. We have to discuss about these 4 categories. Which are these? These are perceivable, operable, and understandable and robust. We will discuss these guidelines in detail. These are the guidelines and the laws we have to follow to develop a website. Okay, basically, what is a web content accessibility? It is basically a developed through the W3C process in cooperation with individual and organization around the world with the goal of providing a single shared standard of web content accessibility that meet the need of individuals, organization and the government internationally. It ensures all the users have equal access information on the web. We have already discussed all the people have equally rights to access the website. So we have to keep in mind when before developing a website. And web content accessibility guidelines provide us a wide range of guidelines and recommendation for making website accessible, and it have different versions. We will discuss about different versions later. Following these guidelines will make content accessible to a wider range of people with disabilities, including blindness. We have discussed about the low vision, deafness, the hearing issue, the learning disabilities, have many more. And the cognitive limitation, limited movement, speech disability, and the photosensitive and the combination for those. Okay. Basically, these guidelines make your website more visible to others and increase its reach on the web. And these guidelines will also often make we are discussing about the WCAG. Basically, it provides us a wide range of guidelines. And we will discuss about these guidelines and the recommendation for making website accessible, and it have a different versions. We will also discuss about the versions. They have different versions. And following these guidelines will make content accessible to a wide range of people with disability. These are the disabilities. These guidelines make your website more visible to others and increase to reach to the web. And these guidelines will also often our web content more usable to user in general. And WCAG is developed through a W3C process in cooperation with individuals and organizations around the world. The goal of providing shared standard for web content accessibility that meet the need of individual, organization, and the government internationally. And what are their versions? There are different versions of the WCAG. WCAG have 1.0 version. The 1.0 is finalized in 1999 and WCAG 2.1, 2.0 also published in 11 December 2008 and WCAG 2.1 basically published recently in 5 June 2018. We will discuss in detail 2.1 because we are using this and the current standard. Basically, we will discuss about this. And WCAG 2.2 published in May 21 May in 2021, and all the requirements from 2.0 are included in 2.1. They have already included in 2.1, and the 2.0 success criteria basically are exactly the same in 2.1. So all the requirements in the 2.0 or 1 are included in 2.2, and wording of the 2.0 and 2.1 success criteria are exactly the same in the 2.2. These are the different versions of this, but we will discuss about the current standard. Okay, basically WCAG 2.1 is the current standard, and who were the main focus for WCAG 2.1? It extends point from previous versions we have seen. In 2.1 we have already seen the 2.0 or are all include. The previous versions are also include they have already include new things. These are include more focus for the cognitive learning disabilities and the low vision and the senior citizen and mobile device user. They have already focus on these points. And how the WCAG 2.1 different from other previous versions. So the what's new about WCAG 1 that is include? What's they have new include? It includes 17 new success criteria related to mobile accessibility because in these days we are using website more in our mobile phones, as well as the provision that will benefit for more people. And the success criteria, these requirements found in WCAG 2.0 are all included in 2.1. We have seen this, they have already included, and the wording for of those criteria has not changed. The wording they are not changed. This means the WCAG 2.1 is backward compatible as W3C put its content that conform to WCAG 2.1 also conform to WCAG 2.0. They have already included 2.0 in the 2.1 with the same wording. And these are the four principles. Basically, these are the most important principle of WCAG 2.1 is broadly broken down into four principal major things that a web content must be considered accessible. These are the principle we have to main focus on these principles to develop our website. First is perceivable. User must be able to perceive it in some way using one or more of their senses. We will discuss in detail perceivable also. Then operable. User must be able to control UI elements. And what are your UI elements? The buttons. The button must be clickable in some way using mouse or a keyboard or a voice command. The operable must be a control in the user. User have a control of using the buttons. Whatever they are using a mouse or a keyboard or voice command, etc. And then we have two more. It is understandable. The content must be understandable to its user. And the robots, the content must be developed using well adopted web standard that will work across different browsers. And now and in the future, which means if you are using different browser, the web standard must be the user can use in the different browser, but if they are using now, then it can be happen in the future. That must be in the future. And the guidelines under the principles, we have discussed the four main principles and we will see about the guidelines. Under the principle are the guidelines. The 12 guidelines provided the basic goal that developers should work toward in order to make content more accessible to users with different disabilities. Okay, we can't test the guidelines but provide the framework overall, the objective to help author understand the success criteria and better implement the techniques. We will now discuss the guidelines after the principle. Okay, these are the guidelines. The text alternative. Provide text alternative for non-text content so that it can be changed into other form people such as a large print and variable speech, symbol or similar language. Basically, we are using English language and this is the international language they're using. And when we have to develop a website, the text alternative, these are the main points. The similar languages, symbols, there are we have a symbol, standard symbol for using the website. If I'm adding the symbol for a telephone, I must have to add the telephone symbol. If I'm adding some location, then I have to add the icon of the location. Basically, it is the same symbol we are using in our website and everyone is using. So user can easily understand this is the main symbol and we are using in our website. And time-based media provide alternative for time-based media. And adaptable to create content that can be presented in different ways. For example, similar layout without losing information or structure. If we're using in a mobile phone or tablet or laptop or our PCs, there are different ways we are using. We have to present our content in different ways. And the structure without losing the structure and the information. And distinguishable make it easier for user to see and hear content, including separating foreground from background. If you're using a dark background, you must have to use a light content color in the writing text. But if you are using a dark text color, you must have to add a light background color, because the foreground and the background must have separately the user can see. And the keyboard accessible make all functionality available from a keyboard. If we are scrolling from a mouse, it can be, and if we are using our keyboard arrow keys, it can also be. If the functionality are different, we if we are enter our username or a password, whatever we are entering and doing some functionality with the keyboard, it must be accessible. And enough time, provide user enough time to read and use content. And the resizable, do not design content in that way that is known a cause of resizing. Means the sizes must be enough for the user to see that the content. Navigable provide ways to help user navigate, find content, and determine whether they are. We have add some button in our website. When we scroll down the website, and if I am the third page of my website, and the website already show me a navigate button, which is exactly doing like arrow symbol or a writing style, which means back to the top, back to the home page, which means whenever you click on this, you will directly go to the home page. And user must have an idea where they are in the page, or if I'm clicking in navigation bar, if I'm clicking about the contact us page or a home page or whatever, user have an idea about in which page they are, where they are. And these guidelines basically include, we have already discussed these guidelines, which are first we have discussed about the perceivable guidelines. We have seen this, and then we have seen the guidelines about the operable, and then we have to discuss about the understandable, the readability. The readable make then text content readable and understandable. The predictable make web page appear and operate in the predictable way. And input assistance help user avoid and correct mistake. If they're using some, they are doing some mistakes. You can see the help us page also. The user you can also add the FAQs or the help us page also in the website. And the robust, the compatibility. In this guideline principle, robust, the compatibility, the maximum capability with current and future user agent, including assistive technologies. And precising in content implementing and using markup languages, elements that complete start and the end tags. Elements are nested according to their specification. Elements do not contain a duplicate attribute, or any IDs are unique except where the specification allow these feature level A. We will discuss about the level A, level AA, and the level AAA. And in the rule post, we are discussing about the parasizing. In this, the IDs must be unique, the avoid duplication attribute, and we have to, if you are start, we are using markup language, which means we are using HTML language. The element have complete start and end tags also. If you will missing these tags, the ending tags, you forget to write on it, then it must be a showing you the error in your website. And name, role, and value for all the user interface components, including but not limit form, element, link, component generated by script. The name and role can be programmatically determined. The state properties and the values that can be set by the user can programmatically set, and the notification of changes on these items are available to user agent, including assistive technology, which is in the level A. User must have a right to change these steps if they are adding some points or information or a form. They are filling some form, but they have right to change in it. And the interface component must be user friendly. And the levels I'm telling you about, these are the three levels. Basically, level A, the level double A, and then the level triple A. Okay, level of conference to help develop team prioritize accessibility, implementation, and remediation effects. WCAG success criteria are organized into three levels. The level A is basically a basic requirement for some users with disability to able to access and use web content. This is the basic level for the user with the disabilities. And the level AA, which indicate overall accessibility and remove of significant barrier to accessing content. And then the level AAA provide improvement and enhancement to web accessibility for some users with disabilities. These levels are cumulative to claim level AA comforts, and a website must meet all level A and the double level success criteria. Likewise, level 3A commerce implies that all success criteria for all these three levels has been met. So we see the three levels. The first one is the basic level, and the second is removing significant barrier for accessing a content. The user can access the content, and then we have third level, which is level triple A, which is which provides an improvement and enhancement to web accessibility for the user. Okay, which user? The user which are disabled. Basically, making a website accessible according to WCAG 2.1 is not difficult. If we are seeing some rules and principal guidelines, we seems it's difficult for us to creating a website. We keep in mind with these guidelines and rules, but it's not a difficult task. Many developers feel like following a WCAG rule is difficult and too much work. So here is a checklist and some simple steps. We have some simple steps you can follow to achieve the accessibility. Now we will see about the checklist. We have to see the W3C have extensive guideline on how to attain the basic web content accessibility. So here are some most actionable fundamental below. So if you follow these steps in the checklist, you are well in your way for delivering an accessible user experience. We will see some checklist point. Okay, in extremely useful to have a WCAG checklist to hand when you are working on the website and doing through the rules. And WCAG checklist keep you organized and help you check your progress while designing and how far you have came and how long for the future use. Okay, here we have some checklist. The screen reader compatible web pages. In this, web pages must be readable by electronic screen reader, which are device commonly used by visually impaired to surf the internet. The screen reader, the user can must be readable from the screen, the electronic device they are using. Then we have an uh, alt tag images, and image must have alt tag, a type of metadata which will help visually impaired user to identify the image via text and via a screen reader. Search engine optimize, well known of all tags, is a way to optimize image for ranking high in Google Images. We are using alt tag for images, and it will help us ranking in our Google Images when we are using alt tags. And whenever we are adding text with the images, the ranking in the Google Images is so easy then. And what about the alter tag tables? We are using table in any web pages that must also have alt tags similarly to those used with images to help explain each column by text. When we are creating a table, we have must include some text in it, and the user screen reader will then read the text aloud describing the content of the table. If the user have searching in the voice recognition, then we have to write with the text with the images also, text with the tables also. And then we have to discuss about the automatic scripting. Any scripted display usage of image mapping should be accompanied by the text alternative. The scripting display basically usage of images mapping. We have to add a textual alternative also. And the fifth one is the style sheet independence. Your web pages should not need a style sheet to display in the way that are understandable. We are using style sheet, and we have already creating a style sheet different. Yes, we have already created how we have already know how to create a style sheet differently with the .css extension, and they should be readable to screen reader, most of which cannot load style sheet. If you are adding more style sheets, then your website will take more time to load, and you have to avoid also this. Uh, the your content must be visible, but it is independent of the style sheet. And then we have to discuss about the accessible forms. The web forms should be usable even without a mouse, and each field should be labeled. And each field should be labeled when we are typing our username in the text field, that you must have to write a label for that text field also. The form, they have know about which field, what we have to write in which field, and the in the we have to enter some data in the field, and we have to label them. And then the text link to plugin, which means if if your website require a specific plugin to work correctly, you should present the link to plug in the text form. And then inclusive color schemes. Your website should not contain any color or color combination that are either integral to the correct usage of your website, or which may confuse those with color blindness in the way printing to your website, product, and services. You have to avoid those color schemes which have not seen color blindness people. You must have to use those color schemes that are easily visible for the blindness people also. And then, what about the keyboard friendly browser? Your website should not be reliant on the usage of mouse or a touchpad. Users who wish to navigate using only keyboard keys should be able to do so. The keyboard friendly also. Our browser or our website, the user who navigate using only keyboard keys should be able to do so. And harmless website design. Your website should not serve images or videos that cause sneezes, and we have to avoid this. We have discussed about the WCAG. Okay, we have seen about the WCAG, the different versions and these guidelines, principles, and we have what the checklist we have to keep our mind before developing a website.